Hey friends, back with another Have I Learned How to Bake Yet video. And honestly, I have not. I've struggled so bad to make this. But let's get into it. As you can see, we're doing a lemon tart today. So first, for the crust, you're just going to add your egg yolk and your cream together. I used heavy cream, and so you're just going to get that big whisk, and it's going to turn like a very pastel yellow color. Once you mix that together, you're just going to set that aside and actually begin to make your crust. For the crust, we're going to take some flour and we're going to pour that into our large mixing bowl. Then we're going to take some sugar, pour that in as well. Next, we're going to take some salt, pour that in also, and then you're going to take your cubed butter. So that way, as you can see in just a moment here, we are going to use this handheld device and just crush it all up. We're going to make sure that the butter turns into about pea-sized. So it's going to take a while and some arm strength because my arms were tired, but it'll be all worth it in the end. So you're going to get that all good and mixed up. And then in the next step after that, you're just going to take your yolk mixture with the cream before, and you're just going to mix that together. You can mix it with your hands or with the fork like I did. Just going to make sure everything just goes in there good. Depending on if you make the recipe, it can turn out a little bit more yellow depending on how much yolk you decide to use. Once you get all of that all incorporated, you're just going to take your hands and form it into a dough. I'm not going to lie to you, I wanted to quit doing this whole trying to get the crust process because I kept folding and folding and folding, and I'm like, it's crumbling. Like, this is not supposed to be happening. But after a few minutes, it turned into a dough, which you will see in just a moment. But honestly, I was like, what did I get myself into? And do I really want to do this? This was a struggle because I was like, you know what? I'm learning how to bake. Why not just make the crust myself? Next time, I will not be doing that. I honestly will be buying a pre-made crust from the store because, baby, I struggled bad. Next, you're going to take some parchment paper and you're going to flour the surface so that way with your dough ball, I guess, whatever you call it, you're just going to place it up there and roll it out. I struggled here even worse than making the crust. Honestly, I was just like, yeah, I just struggled. So basically, essentially what you're going to do is you're going to just constantly roll it and roll it and roll it until it fits in your tart pan, basically. So you have to get it super, super thin. And I also did not pre-cut out enough parchment paper. So yeah, that was a disaster. So I ended up finishing it off camera because as you can see, it is crumbling like my baking experience right now. But basically, you're just gonna roll it super thin, how you can kind of see in the back, and then you're just going to put it in the tart pan. But make sure you use enough flour and stuff so that way it stays together, because that was a hot mess. So yeah, the flour helps incorporate it and just keep it all together. I thought rolling it in a ball would be a little bit easier, but it was not at all. Just, you can see, look at my face. Yeah, that's how I felt this whole entire time. I was like, bro, it's not working. But I was optimistic, and I ended up getting it. So I was like, thank you, Jesus, because ooh, child. Anyways, so next, as you can see, this is what it's gonna look like. You're gonna put it in the freezer for a couple of minutes so it gets hard. Then you're gonna poke some holes in it so that way when you put it in the oven, it doesn't rise up at the bottom, because we do have to cook the crust before we put in the tart. So make sure you poke plenty of holes in there so that way it does not bubble up. Or you can just use something to weigh it down while you place it in the oven, so that way it stays flat and does not rise. While the crust is in the oven, we're going to start on the custard itself. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 4 eggs, you're going to whisk those together, then you're going to take your 2 egg yolks and whisk those together as well. So basically how you would make your scrambled eggs in the morning for breakfast. So once those are nice and scrambled and mixed up together, you are just going to set that aside. You will need that later, so don't cook it. But anyway, so for the actual custard itself, first you're going to use some sugar. I know it looks like a lot, but trust me, it helps balance out the acidity. Then you're going to take your lemon juice, pour that in as well. You're also going to need 2 lemon zest. You can take the zest from the lemons that you just squeezed, so that way you're not wasting any extra lemons. Once you're done with that, you're just going to take your stick of butter and you're going to place that into the pot as well. Okay, so once that's all in, you're basically just gonna wait, and you're just gonna stir it and stir it and stir it until the butter melts and it starts to basically boil, which you will see here in just a moment. So once you get there, it's gonna take maybe like 10 minutes, maybe less, depending on what kind of stove you have. I do have a gas stove, so things cook a little bit quicker. So it's gonna look like that, real nice, real light. And then once that, you're going to take it off of the heat, and then you're going to slowly pour in your eggs, so that way your eggs don't cook, and it's going to look like this. So you're just going to keep mixing it until it gets thick enough to coat the back of your spoon, which is very, very important, because you do not want scrambled eggs in this mixture. Here, you would want to strain this before you just place it in there, because you will have just pieces of lemon, which I know most of you would not want. I left my strainer at home, so I was unable to do that. But if you make this, make sure you strain this into there. So next, you will basically just put this in the freezer for about 3 long hours and just wait. Honestly, you're just gonna wait until it's nice and done, so that way it sets. And there's no way to speed this up, honestly, because whether it's in the fridge or the freezer. But this is how it came out. It was super delicious, and honestly, it was well worth the struggle that I endured to do this, because it was a mess. But maybe next week I'll try something a little bit more simpler. Thanks for watching, and if you have anything else I should make, let me know.